Alrighty, welcome to the 133rd edition of the MMA Circus here on BloodyElbow.com. My name is Nick Baldwin. He is Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence, and as always, we are your hosts for today. Andrew, you just got here yet again, like last week. How's it going?
Doing well, man. You know, I like cutting it close. I feel like it's good energy. There's no more
You're a risky man, at heart, so I guess it makes sense.
I'm a risk taker. I'm an innovator. I'm a great men sometimes have a busy schedule, Nicholas, and you're going to have to learn to deal with that, you know?
You're the type of guy, you're like Jeff Wagenheim from the Washington Post, from the MMA beat. I was watching the beat, and they were doing this
to see where this goes. Yeah.
It was a listener question. What would you be if you're not an MMA journalist? And Wagenheim said he'd be an inventor. I would expect that answer from you. You're the type of guy who, if you didn't, well, I guess you're not an MMA journalist, but another job, the one other option for you, you're an inventor. That's what you are, 100%.
I don't know if I'm an inventor. I don't invent anything. I'm not like an engineer. I'm
not saying you are an inventor, but I feel like you could have.
I have the potential to have been one. Sure. I could have been anything, Nicholas. That's what my wife tells me. She goes, Andrew, you could do anything. I don't know why you just.
That's what your wife tells you. That doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So, Indian summer over or no?
Oh, Indian summer has ended today with the vengeance. It is 50 degrees Fahrenheit today. All right, like to you, I know that's a beautiful summer day, but for us here, not in the Arctic Circle, it's a pretty tough one.
Well, right now we're sitting at 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
You're at 68? It's warmer in the Winnipeg than it is in New York
City. I don't know
how
that's possible. There must be some sort of technical difficulty with the weather or something.
Let me get a live update of the weather. Bear with me. Okay, right now it is 56 degrees.
56, not terrible. Okay. It's really cold in the morning. I'm sure it's the same there, but this morning it's freezing. The windows are frosted. None
of that. It's cold, but like the lowest it gets, like tomorrow, it's going to be 73, which is in Celsius for you. Oh, let's say 22, 23 degrees.
Sure. That's a good late August day for us. Usually, it's going to be super windy here though tomorrow. We're apparently, again, the whole issue Canadian American doing a podcast. I'm going to say kilometers. I don't know if you do, Kay, but
I can process them.
They say we're going to get 90 km/h winds tomorrow.
Oh my God, that's insanely fast, right? So that is, if like it's 90 kilometers, it's about 50? Yeah, 55. 60. Yeah, I'm going to say 55. Let's split the difference.
Sure. So I guess if you're in Winnipeg, I know not many people are, but if you are, stay inside, don't get blown away. Heads up.
Or if you have to get to work, just like make a convenient outfit with like sails under your arms and just like catch a good breeze.
If your work is in the wrong direction, though, say it's the southwest wind, if it's in the opposite, just call in sick.
Get a compass, figure out where your work is, get a squirrel suit. There's a lot to do tonight if you're living in the Peg.
Speaking of Winnipeg weather in general, though, I probably said this last week, I forget, but I can't wait for December 16th when everybody, all of the like California MMA journalists or whoever, come to Winnipeg. And experience the torture
that really did just like slap everyone in the mouth with like, oh, we're going to Winnipeg. And everyone's like, cool, yeah, Winnipeg needs a card. And we're like in December. And everyone's like, fuck Winnipeg, man. Why the hell are we going there?
I really don't understand it. I mean, the first Winnipeg card, the only Winnipeg card, UFC card, was in June. Fantastic. But
it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, call me a simpleton, but it worked. I was like, hey, we got this. The only time it's really tolerable to venture north of the Arctic Circle. Let's check it out.
Yeah,
but nope. In the middle of December. Wonderful planning, guys.
As a Winnipeg native myself, though, I am looking forward to seeing everybody's reactions, because Winnipeg's a goddamn cold place, as you probably know if you have listened to the show. I guess as of last winter, you would know that, but I cannot wait. Speaking of the Winnipeg card, I guess we'll just dive right in and start with the Winnipeg card. Good segue here. Just announced last week for the main event, Robbie Lawler, Rafael dos Anjos, two former UFC champions, different weight classes for a 5-round welterweight main event. Incredible fight. Might be fight of the year. Really, really fun fight. And
relax, take it easy.
I think you don't think it has fight of the year. I'm not saying it will be fight of the year. I think it has the potential to be, though.
It could be, but that's such a ridiculous disclaimer, like this far out. And there's been some really awesome fights this year. And there's been much more high-profile fights, bigger stakes. There's a lot of fights that delivered. You know, Robbie Lawler's coming off of you know, his struggles, and RDA, similar situation. Well, didn't he
both guys
down with the win?
Lawler's coming off one win, RDA's off two there, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Robbie Lawler did win against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, but that fight didn't live up to like the hype that it did. And so you know,
I guess that's the reason I shouldn't be calling this a fight of the year candidate, because that one was supposed to be.
And RDA beat up Neil Magny, so like let's relax a little bit.
And Tarek Safdien, don't forget the former Strikeforce champion, Tarek Safdien.
Oh, I don't forget, because I bet on Tarek Safdien to beat him. Because I'm an idiot. Tarek Safdien is a disease that I always feel like I'm like, he's undervalued. Put a bet on him. He's such a good fighter, and then every time he disappoints. It's one of those mental diseases I have.
The only problem, though, I have with Lawler dos Anjos is the fact that RDA called for an interim title fight. No. Tyron Woodley, love him or hate him, he's been one of – I would have to look at every champion's record over the past year.
He's active as fuck.
Yes. He is probably the most active champion as of right now. Maybe number 2 if I'm forgetting somebody, but he has fought this year Wonderboy in the rematch. Then he fought Damian Maia. Last year, he won the title in July, defended it just months later against Wonderboy. The guy already has 3 title defenses in a year and a few months. That's a lot more than most champions. So give the guy a break. Just because he sometimes fights a bit tentative doesn't mean he can fight like once a month. No interim title is needed. Again, just so ridiculous. And that's why there's an interim title issue, because fighters are so nowadays they're so prone to, hey, interim title, you know, throwing interim titles around, and we need to stop doing that. I can't blame RDA, because why not? Why not throw that out as an option?
Yep.
Because what if the UFC falls for it? I mean, good on him, I guess, but it doesn't make sense. It's still pretty stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. I mean, the biggest thing is that there's no need for a title fight on a Fox card, in the opinion of the UFC. At least that's what I'm thinking. It seems like they were really reserving title fights, and they only really want to put that interim title fight up when they're trying to sell a pay-per-view. I don't know how successful that is now in 2017, but they really think like they need it on that, and they really don't need it on Fox cards. I think the reason why Winnipeg's getting such a good card is because this TV deal is coming up. They want the ratings to really shine. Robbie Lawler's got a lot of big name value. If you know, even though he's maybe not on his physical prime anymore, Rafael dos Anjos probably has some kind of name value. I'm not sure how much like real fan base and how many people get excited in the non-hardcore region for an RDA fight. But for the hardcores, it's a big one. You know, you got Jose Aldo on this fight. You got the Platinum Mike Perry on this fight. You got some homegrown Canadians, Jordan Meehan, Misha Serkinov. So this is hitting all the right notes when you look up and down this card. I'm more excited out of anything on this card. You know, there's some good welterweight matchups on this card.
Perry?
Ponzinibbio, Platinum Mike Perry. Hell fucking yeah, that's the fight, baby. Come on, man.
I mean, that could be another fight of the year candidate. This is a really good card.
Stop calling everything a fight of the night candidate.
They're going to give out 5 fight of the night awards this card. That's where my money's at. But I never thought about the Fox deal, the sort of having leverage and saying, oh, we still put on great Fox cards. Because the ones in the past year or so haven't been terrific. You know, the quarter one of this year was Shevchenko Pena. Good fight, good matchup, top contenders, maybe a title shot was on the line, but who cares? Number 2, I can never remember what the Fox cards were. Help me out. UFC on Fox?
Come on.
I guess you wouldn't know. Oh, DJ Wilson Hayes. So that was great, but no one cares about DJ. So, and then the third one was most recently.
I thought that the Fox cards have had a lot of success. I think it was Weidman against Gastelum.
Gastelum, yes.
They've done a good job of. I think that Mighty Mouse pulls down a decent rating on Fox. I think that the Fox cards have always been a decent place for them to showcase guys who used to be champions or who are unpopular champions, so that they can show Fox that they're giving them real value when really they're kind of getting rid of something that they're getting rid of a puzzle piece that they don't know what to do with right now. And they just hold it over for a little bit. Chris Weidman being the prime example of it. You know, a guy who's on kind of a terrible career skin. Hey, yeah, that's a fantastic example too. Didn't really know what to do with him.
Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Every fight was on Fox almost.
Man, maybe even none of his championship fights were on Fox.
After the championship.
I'm trying to think though if any of the title defenses were on Fox. It may be the Nate
Artie Alvarez just recently.
Exactly. So like these fights make sense.
Tough finale,
you got a really, really high level fighter who doesn't get over with fans. You know, they kind of like, hey, feed him to Fox real quick. We'll show him like, hey, we're giving you #1 contenders. We're giving you champions. We're giving you former champions. And, you know, and they are going to pull down amazing ratings when really they're going to pull down probably the same ratings, whether or not, you know, these guys are on it. I think, you know, you get more excitement maybe. I don't know. Robbie Lawler's an action fighter and an exciting fighter. So maybe I'm just straight talking out of my ass right now.
I do think, though, it's pretty easy to tell that they're stacking this one more so than previous ones just because of that reason, because the TV deal's up soon and they're, you know, in negotiation process as of about a week ago or two.
Yeah.
And so I think
the more interesting part isn't the main event. The more interesting part is that it's depth throughout.
Yes.
There's the Robbie Lawler fight. Jose Aldo's fighting Ricardo Lamas. That's huge. Jose Aldo hasn't fought, you know, like non-pay-per-view fights in quite a while, it seems.
Anderson Aldo, is he on the card?
Anderson versus
Anderson Aldo.
yeah. That elusive fight. You know, I think Glover Teixeira is like on the preliminary portion of this fight.
He might be, which is crazy.
Little Nogs on the prelim portion of this fight. You know, and then just like Canadian names of galore here too. We got, you know, John McDessie, Nordin Talib, help me out here. Chad Laprise is on this. Jordan Meehan, I've always thought that Justin Scoggins is Canadian. He might actually be American, but he's just such a goof. He seems Canadian to me.
Okay. Yes.
So there's a lot of great, you know, hometown names to root for in the prelims. Then we hit the main card, and you're talking action-packed fights against. Actually, the only Canadian really on the main card then is Jordan Meehan, right?
Well, I'm not sure if Meehan will be on the main card. The order hasn't been finalized, and it seems with Cirkunov, the Glover Cirkunov fight, and Little Nog Cannonier, it seems unlikely Meehan and Eric Silva is going to be on the main card. Maybe they mess up the order there. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I actually don't mind that there is a lack of Canadians top level fights, main card fights, because in reality, we just don't have Canadian contenders right now. Ever since Rory's gone, we have GSP, of course, but he's sort of out of this picture. But as far as top contenders, that Canadians that could have been in the main card, there aren't many anymore. So that's understandable. The only one thing about this card that I wish, and it doesn't seem like this might be the case, but sort of a homer thing here, but a Winnipeg bantamweight, Brad Katoni, he's 6-0, and he skill-wise is UFC caliber. I can guarantee it. He should be on this card. Hakeem Dawodu, the former WSOF fighter, he should be on this card. I don't know why he's not signed yet. Jesse Arnett from Alberta.
I think what we're in is not a period of rapid roster expansion now, right? UFC is trying to get cheap fighters who they think they can be stars very early in their career, and those are the only prospects they're really looking for. So whenever it's like, hey, this guy is really established and has this, it's like, I'm not sure the UFC is like too much in the business of signing dudes like that. No, I wouldn't be shocked if fighters like that don't need like 2 or 3 more fights till they get in. Real quick though, before you make your point, Tapology is saying that it's actually Glover Teixeira against
that makes more sense.
Misha Cirkunov, which makes a shit ton more sense, right? Yeah. What the hell am I thinking? So it's going to be Robbie Lawler, RDA, Aldo Lamas, Glover, Misha, and then Ponzinibbio, Mike Perry.
Which is an outstanding main card. That's really, really incredible.
God damn it! Let's learn. Let's learn about how to make a great television product. 4 fights, 2 hours. That's how you pump out something. Get people excited. Get them in. Hit them with some high energy. It starts at like 9 o'clock too, doesn't it? This isn't one of these cards that starts at 10 o'clock. I think they start at 8 o'clock, maybe even.
The Fox shows always start early. Yeah.
Hello, that is a real product made for an actual consumer that actually has a life. Please, UFC, give me the respect of doing this on your other fucking FS1 cards and stuff like this. God damn it with your nonsense. I like watching all the prelims. I really do. We've talked about it before, Nicholas. I've talked to you about passively watching the prelims. You know, you're there, you're seeing it all, but you're not really caring if anything happens. And then when there's a really great matchup that pops in there, like, oh, say... Abel Trujillo against who's Abel Trujillo fighting in this one?
John McDessie.
Thank you, John McDessie, which to me is a fantastic matchup. I love that stylistic matchup, right? So when that one comes on, then you perk up your ears a little bit and you go, "Oh shit, this one could be kind of fucking exciting. Maybe I'll take a look."
Yes. Bout order, you know, something about it still means something. Like it's weird.
No, the UFC has systematically made it so that the bout order means nothing anymore, which sucks because it should mean a shit ton.
Well, I suppose I mean I get what you're saying because they mess it up so often where they have like a big fight in the headlining prelim and then they have prelim-esque fights in the main card. So I see what you're saying. I mean, have an 8-fight prelim card where some people choose just not to watch the prelims, or as you said, you know, play Mario Kart while watching the prelims, and then you know, the 4-fight main card, 4 really good main card level fights. And then, you know, the biggest deal or the reason here is because these fights, you know, okay, so I'm planning to watch the main card. I'm planning to watch these 4 fights. It starts for sure at 9 o'clock. I know for sure. Where when you have, say, 6 fights on main card, you're planning to watch the last 4, you don't know exactly when they start. So I agree. Again, the bout order isn't a huge deal, but it is nice having an early 4-fight main card for sure. So that is it for UFC Winnipeg. I'm certainly looking forward to it. It's going to be a great card, and again, I can't wait for everybody to.
And the UFC turned down your credentials because you're just a little youngin', huh?
Well, that was for the December Toronto show. Max Holloway.
Fake ID yet?
No fake ID. I'm still waiting for you to hook me up on that.
Here's the deal, Nick. If you had just lied to him and told him you were 21, they probably would have just
I didn't tell them that I was 16 at the time. They just probably found my Twitter and
see, that's what you get for being too you share too much.
I do. I guess I'll stop that. My biggest issue with that, when do I stop? Do I stop when I'm 18, when I'm officially a Canadian adult? Do I just say, nah, forget the age, or do I?
I'd stop now. I would just stop now. Yeah, just get yourself used to it. Like, you know, it's not cute anymore.
50 years old in the bio.
Yeah. No one gives a fuck how old you are anymore. You're now.
When I was 13, starting, okay, maybe a bit.
Yeah, you gave you the shine. Everyone was like, "Look at this cute little kid." I mean, that's what I did too. I was like, "Look at this adorable little shit over here, trying to be a real MMA reporter. What a fucking goof!" And now somehow you wrote me into this goddamn weird mentorship podcast relationship we have, which is
we're coming up to 2 years too, a couple months.
Good Lord, man. Sherry, you owe me all that money. Sherry. Send them loonies and toonies.
Delayed by months and months. All right, let's talk about this weekend's UFC Fight Night 118. Another pretty typical European card, it seems, nowadays. Not very good at all. Not very good at all. We're not going to go through all of it. There's a lot of fighters that I've never heard of on this card that I don't care about, that I might not watch. But hey, it's UFC. It's back. Whatever. We'll talk a little bit about it. I suppose we'll start with the main event and work our way down. I mean, other than the main event, I don't really need to touch on much more than that. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But
there's some good little gems in here. And I will also say, you know, let's not be too harsh on this card. I think this one was really plagued by injury.
Was it though?
Yeah, man. We had a lot of weird injuries. Like there was newcomers that were supposed to come in that didn't end up doing. So like Jimmy Manuwa was supposed to fight some dude, but he couldn't get his release from whatever regional promotion he was in. Timu Pakalid was supposed to be fighting Marcin Held. That's why he's fighting some dude with an impronounceable first and last name. I don't know. Sam Alvey was a late-minute replacement. Jim Wallhead was supposed to be fighting Wally Alvarez. That's why Wally Alvarez is fighting some dude named Salim Toharani. I don't, you know. So like a lot of these, hey, who the fuck is that guy? Is because who the fuck is that guy is replacing someone who done broke them legs or something.
Jimmy Manuwa on this card would have been nice, but other than that, none of the fights that were affected were affected.
Hey man, this is UFC Europe. It's an entirely separate promotion. They're my favorite regional organization in the world. They're just like they're the little promotion that could, and I like seeing them. Honestly, that's how I look at these cards. When we're watching them at 11, it seems like I'm watching regional MMA from somewhere in Europe, and it's a good time, man. They're usually competitive, fun fights.
I mean, the card is in Gdansk after all, so I guess we get.
And it starts at 11:30, man. You could finish this card. You can do a bunch of stuff, and you could still go out with your girlfriend for dinner on Saturday night. You don't have to be a loser this Saturday night. You could go out with your friends at the bars. You know, go out, take your girl to an arcade. I don't know, do whatever you do for fun.
What if, I mean, I guess for some people watching, they're probably thinking, what if MMA is what I do for fun? then
well, do something else for fun. Cultivate new habits, man. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree. I agree. I like the afternoon shows. I know we've talked about it before, you know, during afternoon shows, but I like them. Wake up at 10:30 in the morning if you're in the central time zone or wherever you are, and it's good. Sometimes, you know, I sometimes, you know, well, I really and you know, kind of am happy for European people. You know, they always stay up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. watching UFC cards, and it's terrible. But yeah,
it's so a breeze for you.
It's nice. So the main event is actually pretty fun. We have welterweight contender Donald Cerrone taking on rising star in a way, up and comer Darren Till. I don't know, you know, not many people know Darren Till quite yet, but I feel like he has something there. If he gets past Cowboy, he's an instant top 10, top 15 welterweight contender. He's pretty close to the title mix, but right now he's relatively unknown to the wider audience. We know who he is for the most part, but this is still a big step up. I personally think.
You know why we know who he is? Because he's been fighting on all these UFC regional cards. The UFC Europe cards are a fantastic little training ground to see who's gonna emerge. You know, who's gonna be one who can actually make the jump across the Atlantic
to the main event of the UFC Europe card.
But clearly with this win, he's Las Vegas material. He's let's ship him out. Let's make a star out of this kid, right? But it's a humongous step up. You know, knocking out Bojan Velinkovic, or he probably didn't even knock him out. I think I might have gone to a decision.
I think that's a heavyweight, but
whoever. I'm pretty sure Bojan Velinkovic.
Oh, Bojan Velinkovic. Yes. Okay,
is the guy that he beat last. It's one of those weird. It has a weird name with like tons of symbols on top of it. Google this shit. Don't correct me before you be Googling stuff, brother. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, getting a decision victory over him, it is a far cry from beating and fighting goddamn Cowboy Cerrone. I'm really worried that Darren Till is just gonna, you know, fall victim to some really slick takedown, you know, some chain wrestling not chain wrestling, but you know, Cowboy does a great job of getting you really thinking about the striking portion of the game and then just instantly getting a really deep double leg on you, taking you to the ground. If you don't have jiu-jitsu, he has got slick jiu-jitsu. He'll fuck you up. You know, take a quick gander over at Tapology on Darren Till's win page. And yeah, it's an undefeated record, but probably the biggest name on that whole resume is Nicholas Dalby, and that's a draw. And that was a good fight. But, you know, I'm not sure how impressed I am with you know, those kind of credentials. He's a thumper, that's for sure. He's a good striker. But yeah,
he has a funky style that is tricky against lower level competition. But can it beat a guy like Cowboy Cerrone, who has a record of something like 32-9? He's a vet. He's been in the game for so many years, and he's fought the best of the best, literally. I don't think Darren Till has what it takes, and I honestly don't think it's all that close of a fight. I understand why the odds are fairly tight. Darren Till can knock fighters out, although his power is slightly overrated. I feel like he has it, but he just can't use it. He hasn't scored many knockouts lately. But Cowboy Cerrone, I understand why. Again, just because Cerrone's on a bit of a skid, he's lost 2 in a row. Not a great look in 2017 compared to previous years. But nonetheless, I don't think it's all that close.
I mean, I question someone's power who, in all their knockouts on their record, like gravitate towards that early regional phase of MMA. Now, Till didn't come up in Europe. He was a Brazilian. He's one of these weird dudes who like he speaks Portuguese, but I think he's like he's some sort of weird British, like Liverpool or
he's from Liverpool, yes,
like some weird accent, right? Which is hilarious because he speaks Portuguese too. But you're knocking out dudes in those weird it's not even jungle fights, but it's one of those jungle jungle fights even
Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. And you're knocking out dudes like that on the Brazilian scene. Okay, that's cool. But then as soon as you graduate to kind of an upper level, all those knockouts start disappearing. Because people at this stage of the game have exceptionally good chins. The first prerequisite for being a fighter, being able to take a tremendous beating. The guys in the UFC are all able to take tremendous beatings. That's why knocking out UFC fighters is particularly a special indicator that you have, noteworthy power. I'm not trying to say he doesn't thump. He clearly hits people hard. So it should be an interesting fight, but I see Donald Cowboy Cerrone kind of walking away with it. If Darren Till makes it interesting, that will really make or break this card. This card will be entertaining based on the fact, can Darren Till be competitive in it?
I think it's entertaining even if Cerrone goes in there and runs all over him. I don't think that's the deciding factor. I think the biggest factor are some of these prelims exceeding expectations, actually good.
There's not okay. Let's run down the card super fast and say whether this sucks or doesn't suck. It's kind of like a playoff or gets it, doesn't get it. You ready? Sure. Karolina Kowickiewicz against Jody Esquivel.
It's good.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Jan Blachowicz against Devin Clark.
Sucks,
right? That's a terrible. Whoever gave a fuck about Jan Blachowicz, man? Well, Jan Blachowicz's family didn't buy tickets to this thing. And then for some reason, there's a middleweight fight against Jonathan Wilson and Oscar Pechakoda. Whatever.
Grouping these fights together, we can't. We're taking too long just running down the same fights that suck.
You're right. Okay, so instead of this, because most of these will fight, I will point out some good little tidbits maybe to watch. We got our man Smile and Sam Alvey fighting. Does that make you happy?
No, not yet. No.
You don't care about
How
about Artem Lobov against Andre Touchy-Feely?
That's the second best fight on the card, or probably the best fight on the card, complete matchup, but second fight I most care about.
But let's be honest, I find Artem Lobov to be a boring ass fighter.
Maybe Feely can bring the best out of him.
Dude is just like walk forward and watch me get punched in the fucking face a gang of times.
It's kind of crazy that I'm saying this because there was a point earlier.
UFC caliber? Yeah, good point.
No. What I was going to say, he's getting better. He's actually not a terrible fighter.
Stop it. I won't even entertain that. What aspect of his game
who did he just beat? He's coming off a couple wins. Oh, no. He went the distance with Cub Swanson. He went 25 with Cub.
Okay, so what? He got the shit beat out of him for 25 minutes with Cub Swanson without being in danger of winning a single round or a single second. And then, so he beat Teruto Ishihara. Come on, dog. We all love Ishihara, but that was some bullshit what Teruto did. And he could have still won the fight. Teruto
I'm not saying he's a great fighter. But
and then he beat Chris Avila, which is the biggest joke that Chris Avila was ever in the UFC. They just signed him just to get Nate to take the second Conor fight. That's all that is. And he's not beat a single other person in the UFC. Artem Lobov sucks.
There was a time I thought Artem Lobov was genuinely the worst UFC fighter on the roster.
Yes.
And I no longer think that. I don't think he's a good fighter. I don't think he's a great fighter, but I think he's... Well, Artem Lobov beat him, so after that fight, I'm like, well, I can't keep saying this, so...
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I really think that was only because Taruto was partying it up and trying to hit it with Irish bitches.
Probably. But he's done that and knocked people out too. I'm picking Feely all day, but I think this is still fun. I don't know,
Feely could get himself knocked the fuck out in this fight. You know how touchy-feely fights. He's just like, throws caution to the wind, man. Warley Arvis is fighting on this. That to me is fun. And I like Felipe Arantes against Josh Emmett.
Yes.
Josh Emmett. He's got them weird nipples.
Those are the 4 good fights, if we're being honest. Okay. The 4 good, things I care about.
So, guys, get a video game. Get your Mario Kart up. Figure out what you're gonna do during like some of these boring fights. Thank God it's on Fight Pass, guys. It's gonna move along quickly.
Yes. That's one good thing. Well, I think that is it for UFC.
Please put a fork in it.
Put a fork in it. All right. So we were gonna mention this earlier.
You watching Bellator tonight?
Well, I was gonna go
on Friday. That's the question.
No, I was going to go back a little bit. This past weekend, we had a couple fights. Nikita Krylov finished Emmanuel Newton by TKO. Vicious performance at, I believe, it was an EFN Fights Night Global card. We also had the really disappointing and near depressing fight between Rico Verhoeven and Bigfoot Silva. Terrible matchup. We've said it before once it was more closer to when it was official and just booked. A fight that never should have happened. Bigfoot Silva, a guy who no longer has a chin, making his kickboxing debut against the best heavyweight kickboxer on the planet. Utter mismatch, ridiculous. Glory should be ashamed. Bigfoot's manager, everybody involved that helped put this together should be ashamed. I'm thankful that Rico, he TKO'd him. He finished Bigfoot, but it wasn't a brutal finish like some were expecting. It was
brutal enough.
It was brutal enough. Bigfoot took enough damage, but it wasn't a clean knockout. The referee definitely, got in there quicker than quick enough for sure. And I think we know why, just because I'm sure he knew in the back of my mind or his mind that shouldn't be happening. So,
there was a head kick knockdown like right before it, and then as soon as they let him up from the head kick knockdown, he just basically could barely throw a punch and was just getting teed off upon.
If Bigfoot was someone else, that fight would have went on a little bit more.
Now, when you don't throw in kickboxing like that, and you just are like a shell and you're getting teed off on, they call TKOs like that. You should watch more Glory. Everyone should watch more Glory kickboxing. It's pretty sweet, dog.
We should. I mean, that's actually.
What was funner than that boring shit though? Was watching Nikita Krylov beat the fuck out of Emmanuel Newton. And Emmanuel Newton's my boy. We all know and love Emmanuel Newton's crazy ass. But Nikita Krylov is a legitimate 205 threat, man. I really hope he goes to Fight Night Global, wins this belt in the next fight. I think he called out whoever the champion is over at Fight Night Global. Yeah, which is somehow Fabio Maldonado.
That's fantastic. That's just amazing.
Sorry, I can't help. That's fucking awesome. Fabio Maldonado's the champion of Fight Nights Global. That will never not be funny to me. So, wins that, defends the title like 4 or 5 times, and then the pulse is going to be out there in the MMA community. Bring back Krylov. Krylov's going to fight for a UFC championship upon signing with the UFC in his grand return, maybe in like 5 fights. It'll be awesome.
Yes.
I love Nikita Krylov. I hope he just knocks the fuck out of dudes in Russia, doing all kinds of steroids, just juicing the way that God wanted MMA to be. Tons of steroids, knocking people the fuck out and speaking weird Russian languages. I'm into it, man.
Well, I mean, ever since Krylov left the UFC, it's great. I mean, mismatch. This wasn't a complete mismatch on paper because Emmanuel Newton, although he hasn't done well, he's still a name, former Bellator champion, all of that. Wasn't a complete mismatch. Clearly, it seemed to be.
I thought that was a great name for Fight Nights Global to pull, right? You get Manny Newton in there. Come on, that's a great. That's a good matchup.
Well, his last 2 fights have been for them, so this wasn't his debut. But I think the biggest thing here is Newton's collapse is incredible and really disappointing because there was not that long ago when, just before he lost the title in early 2015 to Liam McGeary, he was one of the best, if not the best, light heavyweight outside the UFC. That was a general consensus. He was top 15 in the world. A lot of people.
Yeah, but people who make those rankings smoke fucking methamphetamine. I swear to God, how can you look at? I know he knocked out Homeboy with the spinning back fist. Yo, that is a lucky shot. It was a lucky shot. Now he beat him in the rematch, and that was all weird. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that. Like, King Mo, you should be beating Emmanuel Newton. That was fucked up. I don't know if that's a weird style matchup for him or what, but Manny Newton was just never that good, guys. Let's be real.
Whether he was great or not, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight winning streak throughout his Bellator title.
For real?
Yeah, he was on
a fact?
A 7-fight winning streak. Mm-hmm. He was doing really well, and then 3 losses in a row. Liam McGeary, Phil Davis, Linton Vassell leaves Bellator, fights in Canada, beats Matt Baker, and is now back on a 3-fight skid. He's all in Russia. He's lost twice by decision, now to Krylov by knockout. What, just a turn of events for Emmanuel Newton, from one of the better light heavyweights outside the UFC to a guy getting knocked out by Russians at Fight Night Global. I mean, it's too bad, but I guess
Manny Newton, start eating food regularly. Do steroids.
Sure, but everybody's time runs out, so yeah. I mean, his time certainly has run out, or is very close to running out.
His last win was at Medicine Hat.
That's when you know you're getting close to retirement, or
you're taking that Medicine Hat money when you're off in what is that, Alberta, Canada? Medicine Hat,
Alberta.
Yeah. Come on, let's all head over to Medicine Hat and watch us some fights, boys. Anything else to say about poor Krylov or anything else?
Poor Krylov. Why?
I mean, well, he's not poor anymore. He's rolling in the rubles now, man. You figure that Fight Night Global must be paying Krylov a pretty penny, I'm thinking.
I mean, it's always weird. I mean, I look at Ryzen, and I'm going to try moving forward to say Ryzen, because it is Ryzen. I always say Ryzen.
It is Ryzen. Yeah. It's because you learned it from me, because I was always fucking with people like Ryzen.
You're probably true on that. I always
it's like the rising sun. It's like Ryzen.
Yeah, I like Risen a lot better, but I'll try and do what the people that made it up call it. So Ryzen, even look at Kyoichi Horiguchi. Like it boggles my mind that he's doing financially better at, say, Ryzen than the UFC, but
he's making like $200K. He's a Japanese homegrown star. He sells tickets, B.
And, it's just kind of crazy. You would think, if you just quickly think, okay, so the only company that can stand with the UFC financially wise is Bellator, but that is not the case.
No.
So Nikita Krylov is he's definitely making more money at Fight Night Global in Russia than he was UFC, or else he would still be in the UFC. So,
okay, before we move on, over under $250,000 per fight for Nikita Krylov.
Under.
I'm going to go over. Okay, but time will tell. Time will tell. And you got to do the
We'll probably never find out, but...
Oh, no, never. He probably gets paid exclusively in exotic cars and drums of oil.
I hit up Nikita Krylov's manager on Facebook or whatever.
They just roll barrels into like some weird pickup truck in the back, and they're like, that's 16 barrels of crude, and you're all set, Nikita.
Thanks for fighting. That's fantastic.
He's got to bring him to a refinery himself.
Well, we had no UFC last weekend, no Bellator, but of course, as we talked about earlier, UFC's back this weekend. Bellator is as well. Friday night, we have Gegard Mousasi versus Alexander Shlemenko in the main event.
We're not talking about this whole card, are we?
No. We're talking about the main event, and that is it. This card was good at a point. We had King Mo Liam McGeary in the main event. Could have been boring, but still on paper, good fighters and a good fight. We had Brendan Ward versus David Rickles, was a pretty late notice fight added. Good all-around card. Both fights are gone due to various injuries. Really unfortunate. Really the only fight I care about. I guess you can sort of count Heather Hardy, but
yeah, Heather Heat Hardy. I'm into the Heather Heat Hardy train. I hope that she can make a little career. I'm into her story. I want to see her beat some chicks up. Let's do this. This is Bellator, man. I'm here to just watch some squash matches.
The only
Actually,
thing
I'm here to watch him on Saturday morning on the DVR. Let's do it.
only thing with Hardy is that I wish she got into this a lot sooner. Because isn't she already nearing 30 or
I thought she already was. I thought she was like 32. But who cares, man?
You're probably right, but I suppose. Nonetheless, the only fight I care about truly is
Sweet and sassy. Sweet and sassy Gegard Mousasi.
This is I'm looking forward to this. I mean, Gegard Mousasi, if he is not one of your most entertaining fighters to watch in nowadays in 2017, I can understand why that wouldn't be the case, say 4 or 5 years ago. But today, right now, the guy's incredible. He talks really well. He's incredible on the mic, and yeah, he's really funny. He's really funny, and he fights like a maniac. He's fantastic in the cage. He's really good. He's really talented. He's one of the best middleweights. Might be the best middleweight. Who knows? And he's taken on Alexander Shlemenko, former Bellator champion, pretty well-known guy. Just he's making his return to Bellator too. He was fighting people over in Russia at M1 Global, I believe. Beat Brandon Housey and Paul Bradley pretty recently. Gonna be a good fight, but
did he win all those fights? I know he did.
He finished Housey
Kendall Grove.
Really
when did he beat Kendall Grove? I feel like that was like last year or something.
That was probably 2 years ago.
And then he hasn't got a visa since then, so they're just like, yeah, beat up people in M1, but come back.
Something like that. I don't know the reasoning, but that's probably it. Nonetheless, though, great fight, and I'm looking forward to it. The best fight of the weekend. I'm looking forward to this fight more than anything this weekend for sure.
Didn't Shlemenko pop positive for steroids?
Yeah, and then he was given a 3-year suspension by the commission. I think it was California, but
fuck it. I'm out. I'm here. I'm going to Russia.
I forget exactly what happened because it happened probably already a year or more ago, but it was reduced for some reason, and he's completely good to go now.
Hey, I love that, man. Yeah, why are we hating on people for doing steroids?
Yeah, 3-year suspension. I mean, first time bust. A little harsh.
That's
all right.
Excessive.
So Gegard Mousasi, I would imagine. I haven't looked at the odds if they're out already, but I would imagine he's a big favorite. Everybody is expecting Gegard to win. This fight is sort of tailored for Gegard Mousasi. He's supposed to win. He'll go on to fight the winner of Alessio Sakara and Carvalho. I don't know why that's a middleweight title fight in Bellator, but it is. Let's call this the interim title. I know we don't like interim titles, but why not? Great fight again, but tailored to Mousasi. I would imagine you like him here.
Yeah, I like sweet and sassy. Come on. Who doesn't? Shlemenko, pretty one-dimensional, pretty slow. Mousasi's really veteran, really savvy. So they expected to pick him apart, but that's what Bellator's about. It's about showcase fights until we get like a really good matchup. I expect Mousasi to be the champion in Bellator, probably early next year, whenever they make that fight.
Yeah, I mean the title fight. I think Carvalho Sakara is in December. Gegard, the winner of this, which again
I expect Carvalho to win that, I guess, but I don't care.
Definitely with you. So probably Mousasi Carvalho first quarter 2018. Maybe not first quarter, but definitely
might be a New Year's
half.
Card. Let's put it on the returning Tito card.
Returning Tito card.
Yeah, Tito's going to come out of retirement to fight someone, hopefully Chuck Liddell. It's going to happen.
When do you think that's going to happen?
I think it's going to happen on New Year's Eve. It's going to be like a combined card with Rizzo.
This Friday or this December?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making shit up, dude.
I mean, I know it's not happening, but I couldn't believe you seriously thought Tito would be fighting in 2 months' time. But
that'd be awesome, though. That would make me the happiest. You want to do Gets It, Doesn't Get It? We're running out of time here on the show, Nicholas.
Are we? Oh, wow. We shouldn't quite yet. I want to talk...
No, you don't. Let's move on.
But Mousasi...
We're not going to get to all the questions.
Mousasi deserves our love.
We've talked about Mousasi. What do you have to say? Say it.
Just that title fights. After Carvalho, once he's the middleweight champion, where does he go from there? Do you want Rory McDonald fight? Does that happen, or does he move up to fight Ryan Bader? What's Mousasi's future as far as a 2-division champion?
Yeah, he has a future as one. Let's take things one thing at a time, Nicholas. This is MMA. Take it easy, everybody.
All right.
Brandon the Truth Vera was supposed to be the first 2-division champion. How did that work out? Come on, man. All things in time. All things in time. Slow the roll. Gets
Well,
it, doesn't get it?
I'll let you move on. We want to move on, so let's do it.
All right, time for my favorite part of the show called Gets It, Doesn't Get It. I name a topic, a person, a thing that happened this week in MMA, and we say, Nicholas decides if they get it or if they did not get it. So, first one this week is Gary Tonin has announced that he is going to start his MMA career and has signed a deal with ONE FC. Well, now ONE Championship. Does Gary Tonin get it or does he not get it, Nicholas?
I think this is interesting because
does he get it or does he not get it? There's no interesting.
Yes, this is very interesting, actually. I'm looking forward to his MMA debut at ONE Championship. He's going to make a lot more money with ONE, and as an MMA fighter, the money in grappling just isn't very good. It's not quite, it's very far from MMA level. So money-wise, it's great. Will he be as good of a fighter as he is a grappler? No, because he needs to learn the striking, all of that. So he gets it, and I mean, this is sort of a wait and see as far as how he does, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I say he gets it. Anytime someone offers you a big boatload of money for your promotional debut, god damn it, that is a win. So Gary Tonin, you sir get it. Next up, Ian McCall, who has announced that he will start his show, or will reinvigorate his career, rather start the show. Jesus Christ. With Rise.
No idea what you're talking about. All right.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. Ian McCall, he's fighting in the Risen tournament. He's Risen tournament. He is going to be slated in a fight against some dude I do not know, but if he wins this fight, he will be fighting the Horiguchi man in the semifinals. Does Ian McCall get it, or does he not get it?
Well, I think he gets it. And this is one I do want to spend a bit more time on, just because before you rush me along, don't give me the grumpy face. Before you rush me along to Gets It, Doesn't Get It, this was going to be one of the topics, and then we talked about Gdansk too long, and here we are. So Ian McCall, this is great. I think this is fantastic. I really like Ian McCall in Ryzen. I think this is a good move. I like it. I don't know why I like it more than, say, if he was fighting in Bellator, just because Ian McCall in a tournament, and although it is a bit worrisome that a guy who hasn't been able to fight due to health issues for 3 years could be fighting 3 times in a 48-hour span, that's really, really problematic to me. But if he can make it out healthy and he actually can make it to the tournament, I'm down. If he's going to be healthy, I'm okay. I'm down. I'm excited. I think this is good. I think another one we had was, does Ryzen get it? I think, signing Ian McCall is great. He's a well-known figure in MMA. He's been in the sport for a very long time. He was at one point, the best flyweight and WEC champion, all of that. I think this is fantastic. Every party who was involved, McCall's side, Ryzen, everything, I think they all get it, and I'm really looking forward to it. And also, I'm thankful he's not fighting for Ramzan Kadyrov, because that would have been not good at all.
Well, yeah, that would have been sad. But yeah, I think Ian gets it. He was saying he required $100,000 to fight, and I bet you, Sakibara heard that and said, "Hey, I can add a big name person into this tournament, add a little bit more U.S. excitement. $100,000, worth it for me, baby. Throw that boy some cash." And he probably only told him, like, you only get $100,000 if you get to that Horiguchi fight. You know what I mean? So this is the old Yakuza way, as we say. So definitely gets it. Sakibara and Ryzen have always got it. So kudos to both of them. All right. Gets it, doesn't get it, to the UFC for having the GSP Bisping pressure at the Hockey Hall of Fame. God, I can always tell the ones that you write.
Anything related to hockey or Canada?
No, this is just boring. Who cares? That's not even an issue. Who cares? Who cares who the fucking had the goddamn presser? It's a non-issue, Nicholas. I'm not giving an answer. Fuck this question. We're moving on. Why, okay, tell me why it matters in one sentence.
Fans wanted to get in and could not because the venue was so small.
The fans wanted to see the... That's stupid. It's a press conference. It's not for fans.
Yeah, so what? So if fans are allowed there, they should be able
to... They're not allowed there. They didn't want them there.
Yes, they did. Fans were there.
So? Then what's your complaint?
Because I mean, it doesn't make any sense if they can have 50. If they're wanting fans there, if this is a public event, why have a venue where 100 fans can be instead of 500?
Because it's just like cool, it's historical, it's not some boring ass shit like everything is in MMA. Like the UFC does one fun thing. They do like one thing that's just like the littlest bit fun, and all you can do is like, well, not everyone was allowed to come. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Both sides, they get it because it's historic.
If you wanted to be at a Bisping GSP presser, guess what? You're a fucking loser.
You would have gone if this was in New York.
I wouldn't have gone.
Yes, you would. If you were off work and you had time and it worked for you schedule-wise, you would have been there. I put my life on it.
Exactly, with all those caveats. You're right. If I didn't have work, if it worked with my schedule, if I wasn't busy, if I didn't decide to play video games instead, I may have gone. You're right. You're right. My bad, B. Who gives a flying?
If it was the MMA Hall of Fame, that would have been different. But I mean,
here's a better one. Gets it, doesn't get it. GSP's whole demeanor towards Bisping during the press conferences. He was so upset backstage afterwards in the press conference, swearing at Bisping, that he scared a small child who was there waiting to meet him, and the little child didn't want to take a photo with GSP afterwards.
And I made the joke that the child was me, so...
Mild-mannered Canadian, George St. Pierre, frightened small child out of a photo opportunity. That's front page goddamn news. Now, does he get it because he's getting too emotional, or does he not get it because he's fucking slipping?
Ultimately, he doesn't get it because he is slipping a little bit. It goes both ways, sort of as you alluded to, because he gets it because he's hyping it. He's, he's not just the say nothing sort of George St. Pierre we're used to. He's starting to talk a little bit more. He'll respond to Bisping, but it's not good trash talk. He's not good at talking. He never will be, just because it's something you're mostly born with, or you develop it over time. So he ultimately doesn't get it because he's trying almost too hard, and it just kind of looks a bit corny.
You have lost more fights than I have ever lost.
And also, he's slipping up a little bit. Bisping, you could make the argument Bisping is getting in his head a little bit. I personally don't think he is, and I don't think that'll affect the fight and how it plays out. But the argument is there.
Dog, Bisping told GSP that he got punched so hard by Johnny Hendricks that he started seeing aliens. Michael Bisping has done the dumbest shit in the world, and I've written on MiddleEasy.com maybe 100 articles talking about what a shitheel Michael Bisping is, but just for saying that alone, Michael Bisping will forever be one of my favorite people. That was awesome.
So I guess gets it Bisping, doesn't get a GSP.
Yeah, doesn't get a GSP, gets it Bisping. Okay, let's rapid fire through the rest of these, right? Because we got dumb questions to do.
Yep.
John Moraga for saying he only wants easy fights. Gets it, doesn't get it.
Easy gets it. I mean,
that's it, right?
If you can make a lot of money fighting guys that aren't on your level, why would you not do that?
Come on, baby.
This is prize fighting. This is
the dream. Beat up motherfuckers who are worse than you at fighting for big paychecks. That's the American dream.
And another gets it goes to Moraga because he admitted fighting high level guys like DJ and Dawson for 16 and 16 was a poor business decision. And he's absolutely right.
Yes, that was a poor business decision. You should have got paid at least 6 figures to get beat up by DJ. That's the going rate, guys.
John Moraga all day.
Gets it. Mickey Gall for admitting to injuring John McDessie at TriStar. Gets it or doesn't get it?
I think he gets it. I think this was actually really good. John McDessie, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll say this really quick. He went out, did an interview with Fansided, called Mickey Gall a bunch of bad things because he injured him at TriStar while training. Mickey Gall, in an exclusive statement to one Nick Baldwin of Bloody Elbow, he admitted that he did in fact injure McDessie. He felt bad. It was obviously a mistake, he said. I think this is good. Why start a beef with a guy not in your weight class and make yourself even look worse and say, oh, you didn't injure him and so, someone's lying. So, sort of the shortest lived back and forth from McDessie. So I think Gall gets it.
Yeah, I say get it, man. Someone's out there throwing your name out there. You're getting bad hype off it. Address it. Just address it head on and be like, yeah, I kind of fucked up. And not only that, kind of makes you look like a badass. It's like the story that Phil Baroni knocked Johnny Hendricks unconscious. Yeah, it was like not a cool thing to do, but still, it was kind of badass as fuck. So dope. And it seemed like Mickey Gall kind of hit him with the suplex. And that's how he injured him, which is a dope way to injure a dude. Anyway, last gets it, doesn't get it, goes to Corey Anderson for criticizing Patrick Cummings for not fighting with a massive staph infection. And when I say massive staph infection, I mean his whole foot is swollen up like that chick in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory who became a blueberry. His staph infection looks like someone put a tire pump into his goddamn foot and pumped it up 3 or 4 times. What do you think about Corey Anderson's statement that Cummings should have fought through despite his staph infection?
Well, I don't think Beast in 25-8 or now overtime is right and bang on in this one. Completely opposite. Corey Anderson goes out and says, how do you call it quits so far out from Fight Night? There's still 3 weeks till Fight Night. And I've had staph before. Cut that shit open, drain it, take your meds, rest a couple days to elevate the leg, and you'll be good by Saturday. If you have a completely swollen foot with staph, not so sure, it's that quick. And even if it could be cleared up within a week or so, I mean, he's still not going to fight. It's ridiculous. He has a bad staph infection. Fighters pull out all the time with staph. It's just
here's my problem with it, right? He's got a swollen ass foot, so he can't do cardio. He can't train. Sure. He can't do any of this stuff. So what is he going to do? Not spar before the fight? Not get in a full training camp? Have trouble, cutting weight? Get the fuck out of here with this shit, Corey.
There's 3 weeks left, and his opponent asking him, "Hey, just take 1 week off of training. That'll be no big deal. I'll take it easy."
Listen, Corey Anderson's been working 25-8, maybe a little too long. It's time for a small vacation there over time. Take a break and get with the real world.
Yes.
You don't get it. You don't get it this week. All right, you ready for the dumb questions? I went angelic with it that week.
I love it. It's great. Shoot.
Yeah. By the way, I hit the high note really well. I just want to throw that out there. I'm available for singing gigs. Just holler at me on Twitter at the.
You and Adam know together.
That'd be awesome. First dumb question is from Paul Alexander. Shout out to my man Paul Alexander. You can follow him on Twitter at __ Paul Alexander. He says
_.
_ player. Here's a dumb one. Will Conor ever actually get in the octagon with Ferguson? And if he does, how many times does Conor take him down? Okay. I see where the dumb part came in. What do you think? You think Conor fights Ferguson?
I think he does. I
think he fights Tony Ferguson next.
I'm sort of leaning with that. I mean, Dana White, I am falling into the trap of believing Dana White. I know trying to
always slippery territory.
Yes, you don't want to believe Dana White, but I kind of am. I'm right after Ferguson Lee, I said nope, it's going to be Conor Diaz. Mark my words. But I'm sort of going the other way now. Maybe not next. If not next, I do think we do see McGregor Ferguson. Dumb answer. Let's say 50 takedowns from the Notorious.
Yeah, no less than a record-breaking 50 takedowns by the Notorious One. All right. .yo, he says, at _ whiskey sour on the Twitter machine if you want to follow the infamous .yo. He says, what is the most food you've ever eaten over the course of 24 hours? # dumb questions. This is a great one.
I have no idea.
So much food in a 24-hour period. My wife, my girlfriend at the time, was out of town. I ate so much food that I had a gallbladder attack. Like, I had a gallbladder stone that, like, I had to pass through. Like, well, I literally thought I was going to die. I called into work. I thought I tried to make myself vomit, all kinds of stuff. But then, like, I found out that it was a gallstone, and I just had to kind of endure the pain for a while. I ate an entire Sicilian pizza to myself. I had a turkey sandwich, or it might have been an Italian combo sandwich from the store. I also had tacos. I also drank a lot of beer. It was very gluttonous. Candy. And then there was the candy aspect on top of all of this, like Reese's cups and sour straws and all. It's too much to remember, and I'll try to detail it for next week's show. But just to say, I'm a gluttonous fat piece of shit when I want to be.
I'm just curious, like, why? Was it a special occasion, or did you just feel I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat all of Safeway? Yeah,
basically. Wow, Safeway. That's an interesting reference. Yeah, I don't know. I was just
not a thing in the U.S.?
No, it was. That's why I was shocked that we had like a grocery store that I recognized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just bored, and I was, just hanging out by myself and just bored of eating. Anyway, yeah, so a lot. Next dumb question, at Twitter shit. Liam on Twitter. Yeah, follow him at Twitter shit with 1 T. with 2 T's, but there's 3 T's. But anyway, fantasy 8-man open weight tournament. Pick 4 guys each. So you pick 4, I pick 4, and we'll draft them. And then we'll decide. Loser has to say, I suck at MMA picks on air. Okay, so he wants us to have this little competition. We could do this next week and prepare. Yes. Okay, so let's do this next week. We'll prepare. Live viewers, be ready to judge us. We'll make a special segment.
Liam, remind me, because if you don't, we'll forget about this.
Yes, 100% we will forget. Liam could be the deciding vote, too, if there's some tie. All right? Next question is from #Branch of Power, MMA State of Mind on the Twitter machine. The old man Bob Voss. Yep. Says, why does Nick tweet so much when he's supposed to be in class? #dumb questions.
I don't know. I got stuff to tweet.
God damn it. You're a terrible student, aren't you? If there's a couple things that I've tried to impart upon you, it's the importance of a good education, Nicholas.
I will have a good education once I graduate.
You're getting it now. Pay attention in school. Get off the goddamn Twitter machine. And get a goddamn girlfriend before I have to come down to Canada and beat the shit out of you.
Come down to Canada?
Or fly up. I don't know. It's we're on a sphere. It really doesn't matter. The Earth
although it would be quicker if you go up, but you can try down.
I could travel straight through Brazil into Antarctica. But it's all relative. There is no up or down. There's north and south. There ain't no up and down. Let's be real. All right, next question is also from the old man Bob Voss. Follow him on Twitter @MMA State of Mind. Last time I'll say that. It's one of my favorites. We're bringing them back. Old school listeners of the show know this. We used to play this game a lot called Does Nick Know What Blank Is? Basically, I mentioned something that every person who's been alive for maybe the last 10 years or is just aware of pop culture would know about. And we find out if Nicholas knows about it. So, does Nick know what Band of Brothers is?
No.
Okay. HBO's Band of Brothers?
No.
Okay, yeah, Band of Brothers was a show about I think it was the Deuce Brigade in World War II. They fought, the battle, the Battle of Normandy, the Battle of the Bulge. Okay. They're famous. They were pretty famous. All right. Does Nick know what bass boost is?
No.
Oh, yeah, no, of course you wouldn't know what this is. But back in the day on CD players and maybe even cassette players might have had them too, but I really think CD players is the big one. In a lot of car stereo radios, there's this thing called bass boost, and you could press it, and the bass would just sound louder. It was terrible, actually. It was an awful audio feature, but it was quite popular, probably in the late '90s, early 2000s. So, what were you? -2?
Oh yeah, early 2000s, +2, 3.
There you go. Does Nick know what Pogs is?
I don't.
Okay, if you could guess what a Pog is, guess.
Well, my first 2 ideas, which really isn't fair because it's really directed just because of the name, I would think some sort of pig, or a Pong game variation.
A what game?
Pong.
One more time?
Pong.
What's Pong?
You don't know the game Pong?
Oh, you mean the one boop, boop, boop?
Yeah, the arcade video game, basically.
Okay, Pogs were these little flat discs, right? They little paper discs. They originated, actually, you get them on the back of you pull the top off a milk carton.
Right.
And you get that little plastic disc. There used to be a little paper thing, and kids would snatch that, and they made them little collectibles. But then they just started selling the Pogs by themselves. You'd stack Pogs, and you'd take a thing called the slammer, and you'd hit the stack of Pogs, and you'd try to get them to spill over. And the ones that spilled over and were heads up, you'd collect. And then your opponent would keep the ones that were face down. But people just collected them. They were a really big fad in the 90s. I used to have thousands.
It's not nearly as fun that it went from in a milk carton to just on itself. I would way
actually they were much cooler when you could collect them yourself, because you could get Simpsons Pogs and Skull Pogs and neon light Pogs, and there was all kinds of shit. I'll show you my Pog collection. I'll show you my Pog collection next week. No, I don't have it. I don't know where it is. Last one. Does Nick know what Y2K is?
I'm sorry, but no.
Guess what Y2K is.
A band.
I love that. All right. No, Y2K was when the year 2000 was happening. There was a big worry that all the computers.
Yes, okay. I didn't know it by name, but I know what you're talking about.
Wow, that's amazing. My dad was actually really freaked out about Y2K. He like stockpiled water and batteries and weird shit. And
I found that hilarious in hindsight. Like,
no, people were really, really worried,
no,
and
I
everyone
believe
finds
it.
it hilarious in hindsight.
But
We
to
thought the
me,
nuclear missiles were going to launch because some motherfucker didn't program 2 extra digits in the year.
like as a
Like, I don't.
person who was born in 2000, it's just really hilarious that just like 7 months before I was born, everybody was freaking out that the
We
world
were
was
pretty sure the
basically
world
gonna-
might end because we forgot to program 2 digits on computers.
Yeah,
That's that's how dumb we were, man. All right, 2 more dumb questions. We're gonna rapid fire through them. They're both from the old man Bob Boss. He asks, if Andrew was a superhero, who would he be and why? Oh fuck.
I don't know. You would be every superhero. I can't choose one.
Yeah. I love that you hold me in that high of esteem, Nicholas. I would probably, let's be honest. If I was old school me, like little young me, I know it's cliched, but I would have been Wolverine. I just always wanted to be Wolverine. You get shot with bullets, you're still just fucking doing stuff. You got giant ass claws, you're stabbing people and you're murdering people. And everyone thinks Wolverine's cool and still likes him, despite the fact that in comic books, he's probably murdered like 100,000 dudes.
Sure. I mean, I envision you as Wolverine more than say Spider-Man or Batman with the beard.
No, first of all, fuck Batman. Batman's a fucking loser. Secondly, Spider-Man, actually, I'm into Spider-Man, but he's a little bit too much of a goody two-shoes. He's always doing the right thing. I got to do the wrong thing every once in a while.
All right. Next question.
Last question. Would you sign off on Conor vs. Paulie if it was mixed rules at the McGregor Castle with Jean-Claude Van Damme as celebrity ref? 100%, I guess. Yeah, man. Let's do this.
So what exactly is mixed rules? I always know Ryzen does it, but...
it's whatever we want it to be. It's definitely not straight boxing. What I'm going to say is it's 4-ounce gloves, no takedowns, no jiu-jitsu, but like elbows, kicks, punches, all that shit. It's done in a bouncy castle, like a giant-ass bouncy castle. And Jean-Claude Van Damme's definitely the celebrity guest referee, and we're giving him all the edible marijuana in the entire world beforehand.
Liam Hughes on the YouTube chat. No time for Mousasi talk, but he loves this. Andrew is cruel.
You got to be cool to be cruel, as they say, or is it the other way around? Either way.
Doesn't matter.
Are you signing off on Conor vs. Paulie? And what stipulations do you need to sign off on Conor vs. Paulie?
I think sort of what the bouncy castle is a great addition. Conor, by itself, terrible fight. Never want to see it. With elbows and kicks and knees, I'm closer to McGregor Castle. Okay, that's good. Jean-Claude Van Damme as a ref. This is.
Have you ever seen a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie?
Probably not.
God damn it, Nicholas. Go watch Bloodsport. We've talked about this before. Go watch Bloodsport immediately.
All right.
Yes. Have you ever watched Bloodsport?
No.
Then why don't you ever do the homework that I assign you? This week's homework is watch Bloodsport.
I thought it was just National Treasure guy, Nick Cage.
But you never did you watch National Treasure?
I've seen it. I didn't watch any of the other ones.
Oh, I think you're supposed to. Oh, I think I told you to watch like 8mm or like Leaving Las Vegas, something really fucked up. But anyway, yeah, man, watch Bloodsport. Now that's a movie. If you want to know about mixed martial arts, you need to watch Bloodsport.
And rest in peace to the what is it? Leahy.
Jim Leahy. Oh man,
the Barley Brothers, or what is it?
Yeah, I don't know his real name, but
no, the show.
The Trailer Park Boys, the Barley Brothers. You're Canadian. You're a Canadian.
I know.
You should know
this is so bad. I've never seen it.
Dude. Yeah, shout out to Leahy. Thanks for depressing the shit out of me, man. He was fantastic. He was really a great comedic actor. I like that show a lot. That show always made me laugh.
I believe it. Well, let's end the show. Episode 133 of the MMA Circus is in the books. Thank you to you guys for watching. We always appreciate the support. You can find the MMA Circus on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Google Play, TuneIn, Player FM, Overcast, Pocket Cast, if I said that already, Podcast Addict, and I think that is it. Bloody Elbow, SoundCloud, of course. The YouTube replay, I guess you're already watching, so no need to say that, but if you want to watch again, the YouTube replay is automatically up right away. We're on SoundCloud as of a few weeks ago. Bloody Elbow, as always, thank you to him for promoting the show each and every week. Andrew, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where they can find your full of integrity MMA journalism. Hey, I got integrity right this time. Took me 3 times last week.
No, you never got it right last time.
No,
so
you're right, I did.
Yeah. So you can find me on the Twitter machine at The Clown Kid. You string those 3 little words together and you get access to all my beautiful tweets, baby. Come follow me there. Follow at MiddleEasy.com. You catch me live tweeting every single combat sports events that I watch basically on that Twitter handle as well. Check out all my writing at MiddleEasy.com, particularly on the weekends. And yeah, that's about it, baby.
Alrighty, you guys can find me on the Twitter at Nick Baldwin MMA. You can find all of my MMA writing over at bloodyelbow.com. That is bloodyelbow.com. Go check it out. I will be launching a new podcast right here on this YouTube channel, exclusive here on the MMA Circus YouTube channel. It is called Beyond Combat. Andrew, you're going to be proud of me. I'm going to be podcasting about non-MMA stuff.
Oh, so how long these podcasts going to be? Like 2 minutes?
It's going to be so funny. I don't know how it'll go. It'll either be terrible or fantastic.
Listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. Just bring guests on and have them teach you about other things in life. That's how this show has to go.
That's basically the plan here. I'm trying to prove to you that I can talk about non-MMA stuff. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'll try.
Like absorb this information from other people's lives and realize that like there is a world outside of MMA and you need to cultivate it if you want to be successful in MMA. There's no more room for specialists in this world. God damn it.
Yeah. But so anyways, Beyond Combat will make its debut tomorrow night at the time of this show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, approximately. My first guest will be the owner of MMACircus.com, Jeremy Brand, good friend, all of that, blah, blah, blah. So the point of this show is I will be talking to MMA personalities, journalists, fans, maybe the odd fighter, although I don't suspect to have too many fighters on, especially or at the beginning. What we will be doing is I'll have MMA personalities on to discuss interesting non-MMA things going on in their life, a career, a hobby. So tomorrow, just as an example, Jeremy Brand, my guest, his day job, he works for the Vancouver School Board. He works with special needs kids. And I find that interesting. We're going to talk about that. We'll have many different types of people on and different careers. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun every Wednesday around the same time, 7:30 Eastern, once every 2 weeks. So it's not going to be as often as this show, but that could change as time goes on. We'll see. That is it for me. Check us out, YouTube, all of those places, iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast. Go check us out. Rate us, review us, subscribe. 5 stars.
5 stars. Give this video a thumbs up if you're watching right now. Do it right this second. It's probably like right there. It's probably like right there.
You might be on the wrong side. I'm not. Yeah, you're probably right.
Hey, I'm not a perfect person. What I'm saying is I'm worth a thumbs up.
Yes. Go comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same day. Peace out. For Andrew Lawrence, my name's Nick Baldwin, and we are out.
What up, Sherry?